The most unlikely left-handed pitcher holds an MLB record that might never be broken. Think of the most memorable left-handed relief pitchers in baseball in recent memory. Andrew Miller, Zach Britton, Aroldis Chapman are three names that probably come to mind. What if I told you that there's a player who put up a season so special that there isn't a single player in the history of modern baseball that's been able to replicate it? This player had a season worth remembering. That player is Tyler Olson. Tyler Olson grew up in Spokane, Washington, and attended Gonzaga University for college and pitched for the Bulldogs starting in 2009. Olson suffered a shoulder injury in 2010 that took away his season, but luckily for him, he was able to make a full recovery by his junior year and got into the starting rotation for the Gonzaga Bulldogs and pitched 110 innings. In the 2012 draft, the A's selected Olson in the 17th round, to which he decided to go back to Gonzaga for his senior year rather than sign with the A's. 1 year later, Olson's hometown team, the Mariners, decided to draft him in the 7th round of the 2013 draft, to which he signed for $10,000 and became a professional baseball player. While it seemed like the start to a really good feel-good story, unfortunately, the journey to become a solidified member of a big league team was an arduous one. Olson's rookie professional season wasn't great by any means, but the following year between high and AA ball was where he made significant progress. He finished the year with 27 starts, throwing 148 and a third innings, and accumulating a 3.46 ERA. The following season saw Olson make the opening day roster, earning his first big league call-up. Tyler Olson's first cup of coffee in Major League Baseball saw him get into 11 games, to which he posted a 5.4 ERA in 13 and a third innings of work. Because of his early struggles, he was sent to AAA Tacoma, where he spent the rest of the season from May 10th on. Olson was unable to figure things out in AAA that season, unfortunately. Although 11 games wasn't a large enough body of work to make a judgment on the kind of player Tyler Olson would become at the Major League level. After the 2015 season, Olson's offseason became uncertain when he was designated for assignment in December, and traded 2 days later to the Dodgers for cash considerations. Just 3 weeks later, Olson was designated for assignment again and traded 6 days later to the New York Yankees in a minor trade involving 2 other players. On April 15th, a little under 2 weeks into the season, was when the Yankees decided to recall Olson from AAA and give him his shot in pinstripes. And who better to make his debut against than his hometown team, the same team that decided to let him go a few months prior. The stakes, however, were not high, as when entering the game, it was 5-1 Mariners in New York, and Olson was able to make his debut in a low-pressure situation. He pitched 2 2/3 innings, allowing 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, and walked 2. Tyler Olson's first game with the Yankees would also be his last, as he was sent to the minors, called up, and designated for assignment before getting into another game with New York. It was claimed by the Royals 1 week after being designated for the 3rd time in 6 months. Not even a month later, Olson was getting DFA'd again, and this time he was claimed by the formerly known Cleveland Indians. After getting designated by Cleveland during the 2016 season, the Indians retained Olson and invited him as a non-roster invitee to spring training in 2017. At this point in his career, he had just 12 MLB appearances on his resume and was still classified as a rookie despite spending 2 seasons going between AAA and Major League Baseball. 2017 started off rocky, but as you'll soon learn throughout the video, this was the year Tyler Olson had been waiting for. He started his season in AAA and pitched well enough in 34 games to earn a midseason call-up in July, and was brought into a game against the Blue Jays to face Steve Pearce. 5 pitches and a hit batter later, and Olson's Cleveland debut was cut extremely short. The run didn't come around to score, and luckily for Olson, he didn't have to wait too long to get into another game. 2 days later, also against the Blue Jays, Olson pitched a scoreless inning, only needing 9 pitches and struck out a batter. He was briefly optioned to AAA following this appearance before getting called back up before the end of the month. Olson received 1 more appearance in July before turning his focus to the last 2 months of the season. This was the time to prove he belonged and to find the much needed stability to his big league career. Olson hadn't received ample opportunities to integrate himself, and if he squandered this opportunity, who knows if he'd receive another chance. Clearly, Tyler Olson was not concerned with that possibility and showed Cleveland why he deserved to be a big league pitcher. In the month of August, he got into 13 games, pitching 8 2/3 innings, striking out 11 batters while walking 3. Naturally, he allowed no runs, keeping his season ERA at 0. Terry Francona, Cleveland's manager, started to utilize Olson in left-handed specialist scenarios, meaning that Olson would get into games to face one hitter before giving way to the next guy up. This strategy was employed before the adoption of the 3-batter minimum rule, which has been in effect since 2020. But at the time, someone like Olson who could get lefties out was a valuable commodity, one that was used by a majority of ball clubs. Loogies, lefty one-out guys as they were called, were a valuable piece to every bullpen. His 0 ERA for the season proved to be no fluke, as he backed it up with his best month of his young career. In 13 September appearances, Olson in 9 1/3 innings allowed just 4 hits, striking out 4, saving a game, and earning his second career win. Of course, he did not allow a run. Now his season streak was up to 19 2/3 scoreless innings. Out of those 13 appearances, he had 6 true loogie outings, meaning he got into the game, faced one hitter, and was immediately taken out of the game in favor of a right-handed pitcher. In October, Olson only got into 1 game, and to finish off such a strong season, it only made sense that he'd get 1 more loogie appearance, and struck out the only hitter he faced. For the season, Olson pitched in 20 innings across 30 appearances, finishing 4 games, allowing 13 hits, and striking out 18. His .95 whip showed that he was excellent in limiting base runners, allowing under 1 runner per inning. Tyler Olson helped Cleveland that year win an AL Central championship, as well as win 22 games in a row, which started on August 23rd in the middle of Olson's electric start to the season and ended on September 14th. How fitting that as soon as Olson gets called up, Cleveland put together a 22-game win streak, tied for second most all time.
Coincidence? I think not!
Out of all the impressive things that we've talked about in terms of Tyler Olson's 2017 season, nothing is more impressive than the 30 scoreless appearances, which is not only a great accomplishment in itself, but also a Major League Baseball record. First off, credit to Andrew Simon for the stats I'm about to share with you because they are insane. In 2017, when Olson accomplished the feat, no other pitcher had produced a scoreless season of more than 14 or 18 games, a feat accomplished by Eric Gunderson and Carl Spooner, respectively. Olson managed a number more than double that of Gunderson's and 12 more than Spooner. As a cherry on top, Olson was able to accumulate a 1.2 WAR according to Baseball Reference. In such limited action, he was able to accomplish something that no other pitcher or position player was able to accomplish in 2017 with fewer than 98 batters faced or plate appearances. It had been more than 30 years since the last time a player was able to accomplish the same feat as Olson in 2017. All those stats are incredible, but what made Olson so effective in 2017? For one thing, the deception. His 3/4 arm slot was hard to see as a left-handed hitter. Credit to Merritt Rolfing for providing the chart in an article, but this is where Olson's release point is relative to an opposing batter. That's not a typical arm slot, and it makes breaking balls all the more difficult to see out of the hand. When the ball starts off looking like it will hit you, then falls into the strike zone, good luck trying to hit that. Second was his average velocity. Olson rarely threw the ball over 90 miles an hour. His average velocity on the fastball was a tick over 89 miles per hour for the season. And lastly, his repertoire. Olson utilized a 4-pitch mix. The slower fastball we discussed, a curve, changeup, and sinker. The fastball he threw less than his curveball, throwing it almost 31% of the time, and his curveball 41.5% of the time. His changeup he threw almost 90% of the time, and his sinker under 10% of the time. The most lethal pitch of the 4 is without a doubt his curveball, which is especially tough on lefties because of that arm slot and movement. There are limited percentile rankings for the 2017 season. However, he ranked in the 84th percentile for curveball spin, meaning that his spin rate was elite. Considering that the velocity of his fastball ranked in the bottom 11% in all of baseball, it helped make his fastball more effective to have such a devastating secondary pitch. When you can get a hitter looking for a specific pitch, like a curveball, and surprise them with a fastball, even with below average velo, you can capitalize and find success. Olson was able to master this concept, making his arsenal unhittable throughout 2017. Opposing hitters hit 167 against his curveball, 188 against his fastball, and 176 against his changeup. His sinker he hardly threw, but with a .333 slugging percentage against that pitch, it's safe to say that his arsenal was lethal in 2017. His lefty-righty splits were excellent considering that he was considered a left-handed specialist. Out of his 30 appearances, Olson faced one batter in 18 of them, and was in the bottom 5 in the MLB for average batters faced per game at 2.6. And his success was not specific to only left-handed hitters. Right-handed hitters batted just .219 against Olson, and got just 7 hits against him in 35 chances. Right-handers fared slightly better against Olson, posting a .504 OPS against as opposed to the .460 clip that lefties were able to muster off of him. Still, really good stats against both. Remember, this is the same guy who spent time in 5 different organizations in under 2 years' time. In that span, he only got into 1 MLB game, which occurred in his lone appearance with the Yankees. Like I previously mentioned, Cleveland was able to take the AL Central crown, winning 102 games and matched up in the first round of the playoffs, the ALDS, against the New York Yankees. Much like how Olson's lone appearance with New York came against his former team in the Mariners, this seemed like the perfect opportunity for Olson to show the Yankees what they missed out on when they let him go just a year prior. Olson did not disappoint, appearing in 3 games, pitching 2 innings, and allowing just 1 hit and striking out 2. Cleveland unfortunately fell to New York in heartbreaking fashion, losing 3 games in a row after winning the first 2 games of the series. But regardless of that unfortunate outcome, Tyler Olson put the finishing touches on a perfect season by pitching 3 scoreless outings in the postseason, with the highest of stakes, to extend his streak to 33 games in a row without allowing a run.
Wow.
And I don't just mean earned runs like I did with JP Feyereisen. This was a 0 runs allowed season, and Tyler Olson was able to do it after experiencing much adversity throughout his career. From a college injury to becoming a journeyman, Olson eventually found his role thanks to a great manager in Terry Francona. Like we talked about in the JP Feyereisen video, FIP is an important stat to see if success can be sustainable. A 0 ERA is something that simply will never tell the full story, as there were times throughout 2017 when Tyler Olson got into and out of trouble. FIP doesn't give the benefit of the doubt, as it attempts to see how good a pitcher is at limiting base runners and sustaining their ERA. Tyler Olson's FIP for 2017 was 2.41, which is still great, but far off from the 0 ERA that shows up on his baseball reference page. The same principle applied to Feyereisen, but for the sake of this video, I think in order to properly celebrate and relive Olson's great achievement, we should just marvel at how rare of a season he had in 2017. In terms of how he fared after this anomaly of a season, it didn't go quite as planned, which has become a theme of sorts for Olson's career up to this point. He posted a 4.66 ERA in 82 games between 2018 and 2019, getting into 58 innings and finishing 13 games. His strikeout numbers went up significantly as he struck out 68 hitters, which equates to a 10.6 Ks per night. Overall, he was a below average pitcher in this stretch and did not play in the 2020 season after signing with the Cubs. 2021, he pitched for the Red Sox AAA affiliate Pawtucket, posting a 2.61 ERA, but never got a call-up to the majors. Olson did not pitch in 2022 and still remains a free agent. It remains to be seen what Tyler Olson's plans are for his future in baseball. It would be nice to see a team take a chance on a pitcher who's still just 33 years old, with the potential to be a reliable left-handed bullpen piece. While the role of LOOGY is in the distant memory and will probably be forgotten as time goes on, let's never forget what Tyler Olson was able to accomplish in 2017. A guy who was designated for assignment a total of 5 times in his career was able to accomplish something that still stands today as a record in modern baseball. Comment below your thoughts on Tyler Olson and his 2017 season. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.